And we are live, I believe. Let's go. Hello, everybody. How's it going?
Doing good. How are you doing, Gucci?
Doing good. Are we all doing well?
Frozen.
If this thing became unfrozen, we're a little bit late because we were having some Google Earth issues and all kinds of stuff. You might think of Google Earth on a Star Wars show. And if you completely go, oh no, he's freezing a little bit. Okay, but say if he completely fixes it for no reason other than we went live, it's gonna be amazing because it's gonna look like we have no idea what we're talking about. All right, tonight, what are we doing, Canadian?
We are covering the after our long hiatus. We're covering season 1 of Tales of the Jedi and giving our little rankings of the 6 episodes.
Giving our rankings of the 6 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Weird. All right, so before we go, there will be spoilers. I didn't say that last week. I hope I didn't make anybody mad because I forgot to say like spoilers. But obviously this is the full review. There will be spoilers, but before there's spoilers, what did you think overall? Really quick elevator spiel. What did you think of the overall of the show? Canadian.
Me first, okay.
Yeah, you first. We don't know if Dave's going to be there, so we got to work the way through that.
I liked it.
Don't ask me anything.
See, there you go.
I liked it. I thought the production quality was really good in terms of like the animation, the sound, the acting. Like that's probably some of the best it's looked of the CGI animation they've done so far. Otherwise, story-wise, I liked the Dooku stuff, the Ahsoka stuff. I felt didn't really need to truly be there. It was just kind of an extension of Filoni. But otherwise, I'm excited to see what they can do with the show going forward.
All right, Dave, let's take a shot. What did you think? It's going to be even quicker than the elevator. It's going to be fast, just in case. What did you think overall of the show?
Oh,
or
me?
not?
Am I going in?
This is great. I'll talk for him. I think it was amazing, and I cannot.
You might have to come back to me.
I cannot be disappointed. That's what he thinks of the show. We'll go there. All right. So my overall, kind of somewhat agree. I think the Dooku stuff was pretty awesome. Although I do like Ahsoka, she's one of my favorites. It did feel like Dave Filoni just wanted to flex his "I made this chick and she's awesome" muscle. I didn't necessarily like. It's okay that it was in there. Like, I don't have an issue that it was in there necessarily. But like you were saying, I don't know if it was necessary. Like, I don't know if I was like, "Holy crap, that answered 100,000 questions."
Especially 3 episodes worth, yeah.
Yeah, it was just okay, cool. Like, I always like seeing Ahsoka, and nothing in there was egregious where I'm like, how dare they add that into the? It just seemed kind of like, it's okay. But I wasn't knowing that Ahsoka was in there. I was thinking, okay, we're gonna find out what she was maybe doing since she left. We're gonna find some really juicy stuff, and it was just kind of like, okay, that's kind of neat, I guess.
It was really just that one.
Well, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it took me 3 seasons of Clone Wars to warm up to her. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Ahsoka, but this it didn't do anything good for that feeling. But it definitely hit some great notes outside of it. So Ahsoka, I think a lot with Dooku, that was great, and then that one especially with Qui-Gon young, well, young-ish.
Qui-Gon Young.
Qui-Gon Young.
Qui-Gon Jinn. There you go.
All right, so I believe we opened up on rural Japan. I believe is where we opened up on. Unknown history of Japan, that they have people who come out orange with face markings. It looked like a Japan village, obviously, to me. Look, I was okay, they're really going with the Asian theme here. and we hear Ahsoka, and I swear, I might be crazy, but I swear that's Baby Yoda laugh track going on there. When she cooed, I was like, I looked up at the screen because I had headphones on, and I was kind of messing with stuff. And whenever I heard that first coo, I looked up and I said, "It's Baby Yoda." Like, it really, maybe it's just because that's the only baby noise you hear in Star Wars is both of them. But so yeah, the doe-eyed is supposed to be make you go, "Oh," and it's going to be the doe-eyed baby that launched 1,000 toys. I'm assuming this is going to be some toys launching with Baby Ahsoka. They're going to try to cash on that one, I think. Yeah, it was fine. We found out about the village she came from, that particular species, which I cannot think of their name right now.
Tortuga.
Yeah, they're kind of known as people who, if I remember correctly, are a little bit stubborn. They didn't want to join right away. They like being independent, so it's not that surprising. You see that they are definitely, they had technology, but they weren't like using it 100%. It was just like, here, hold this brick while I build the house kind of thing, which is cool. Like, that's the way I would hope that I would use technology if I
not dependent. Yeah.
And yeah, so I guess that was Dad. He was a little bit corny. I don't know why we didn't find out her mom was a badass hunter, married the corniest guy in the village, but he was kind of corny. Yeah, you just kind of learn day to day. There's a super old chick who was like, man, she kind of gave me Force vibes. Did the really old chick give you Force vibes, or she's just supposed to be super spiritual?
I thought so too.
A little bit. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, she's giving me like, I know way more than I'm supposed to know, but that's how you do elders. But she looked like she was knowing way more than she's supposed to know stuff. And I guess that was it really for that first part. And then she decides to have that coming of age thing where we go take our extremely small baby and put their ears right next to a loud exploding device while you kill beasts. So that was interesting. So we had a cool hunting scene. I kind of feel like, well, I mean, this. Oh, you know what? I forgot to shout people out. Let's do that real quick.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
Tacoma Comics, a Star Wars encyclopedia himself, and then Funk Comics. Hello. Thanks for joining us.
Funk.
I kind of got the impression though that because they went to the older lady, right, the head of the village. And she gave her the blessing with the blue paint, both of them. So I kind of feel like the women might do the hunting in that village, which is cool. Like I said, I'm always down for that as long as there's a magic or laser sword or a gun involved, and that is 100% okay with me. And then they went hunting, and I guess the point was to teach Ahsoka about life and death, because that seemed to be what she was. She literally made her baby stare at the dead deer while it died, and then I'm going to cut it open and have you eat the liver, I guess. I'm not really sure what that was about.
The fava beans.
Yeah, but that was cool. Teach her life and death. Did you like the hunting scene?
She's pretty young.
She was awfully young. But I guess that's what they do. Like,
it was all right.
Pretty bold though, right? Like, one of my hillbilly cousins went hunting for pigs one day, wild pigs with nothing but a knife. And he came back with like 150 stitches from his armpit to his gut. And that's all I could think about when she's out there hunting. I was like, wild pigs are nasty, but a wild pig did that to a grown man with a knife. Man, I hope your mom's a good shot, because she's using you as a chest plate. So you better. And then while we're out there, we met one of the largest tigers I've ever seen in my life. He is stalking them. So
Tiger King himself.
Yeah, the hunter became the hunted, and we got another life lesson about that. And through the mayhem and the chaos, Mom did a pretty decent job fighting off the tiger, but in the end, the tiger, for some reason, decides to take Ahsoka and run 45 miles away and eat her in a slow way. It is very gingerly takes her. Do you think that the tiger sensed that she was with the Force? Because I don't understand why the tiger would very gingerly take her by her shirt.
Yeah.
And not by the ankle and drag her like when you see an actual wild animal attack.
It was very reminiscent of the wolves.
Yeah.
With Ezra.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen, usually, let's be honest here, it's usually a lady of Caucasian persuasion who decides that the wild buffalo should be petted on top of the head. Oh, he's a pretty fella, isn't he? And then we all know that's coming. We're laughing. We're ready for it. And the buffalo turns around, knocks her 400 feet behind, and we all laugh. So the fact that the tiger very gingerly grabbed her by the shirt and then carried her away, was interesting. I'm not really sure why that was done. Although we don't want to see Ahsoka being dragged by the ankle through the woods, I guess. So we did that.
That would have been something else.
Yeah. That's the only part that I have questions about. And I'll see what you guys think. I'm under the impression that so far what we know about Star Wars is two things. One, Edgar Bridger told us, we found out through him, that having the ability to communicate that deeply, that fast with animals is rare for the Jedi. It's not something that they all can do. And I don't remember Ahsoka ever having this predisposition before. And then two, we know that baby Jedis can't call on the Force like that. It's something that they have to be taught. That's why they go to an academy to be taught. So I thought it was interesting that she was aware that fast that she should be able to talk, because she was not afraid. I was saying this to him, to Hoosier before this thing started. Like, if you had drawn her like and then it was like kind of like they did with Baby Yoda a little bit, was like, I'm scared, and I reached out to him through that way. But no, she just like reached up and touched him, and he, oh, you're cool, and then they became friends. That was the only part that I was kind of like, that was fast and sudden, and because I know Ahsoka's awesome, but I don't remember her being like the second or third most powerful Jedi with the Force abilities. I don't remember reading that, so that seemed like pretty powerful thing to do when you're a baby. It seemed pretty. We're talking Baby Yoda levels here, so I don't know. But it's Ahsoka. So what did you guys think about her touching the beast and making it her kitten?
Dumb Star Wars.
I think it was almost predictable.
Oh yeah, it was definitely going to happen. But that was like the only it. That's the only issue that do you guys have any issues with the Baby Yoda part, or Baby Yoda, Jesus, Baby Ahsoka part?
Baby Jesus.
I just thought it was just okay. Like, not much, added to the character. I found didn't seem like we needed. It could have literally been a flashback, let alone a whole episode.
Yeah, I mean it really didn't need to be there.
Yeah.
You knew how she began, and you knew that she was Force sensitive. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, luckily it wasn't a short, like these are short, so that was good. If it had been like a full episode of like,
it was 30 minutes, I would have
Clone Wars, that would have been bad. So if you're gonna give some fan service, which this obviously was, Ahsoka's a pretty popular character, I'd have an issue with it. Like, it wasn't, do we need it? No. But if you're gonna do it, this would be the way to do it, like a flashback or this, where you can see the village she came from. All it did to me though was thinking, man, it really is like, I don't know, man. They don't do a good job explaining why these people would give up these babies that they love so much, and it means so much to their village or their people. And then, like, 2 years from there, I think it is about 2 or 3 years later, she's at the Jedi Academy now. She's found and she's there.
3 years old.
And like, I have children, and even if they were, obviously if they were powerful in the Force, and pencils and stuff are flying on my head every time I tell them to go to their room, then great, you got to take the kid away at that point. But
boarding school it is.
But they don't really explain. Like, they say she's a Jedi, and they were all like, "Oh, that's cool," but they weren't like, "Oh my gosh, she has a destiny to help this universe, and she's more more important than us." And they never say that. It's kind of like, okay, few hours later, she's at the Jedi Academy, and she never sees her family again. Like, it's really kind of like abrupt. It seems like. And I think it's one of those things that now that we know about it, everyone thinks if you think about it too hard, it does seem harsh. That these, it could be your only child, and they're taken away just because they happen to have some affiliation with the Force, and you never see them again. I don't know. So that was that part. I thought it was okay. I'm assuming that later on we rank this is going to be pretty low on the rankings for old Canadian there.
Yeah.
I'm sure it certainly didn't start the series off well. I was kind of worried.
Yeah. Oh. What was the second episode then?
That was the one with Qui-Gon Jinn and Dooku.
Oh, Jesus. I did all this work too. I almost forgot. I actually have a clip.
Good.
Of this part that I was talking about. Here we go. Here's the time when Ahsoka meets the Tigger. And I
It-
also
He's totally saying you ruined my meal.
he did. He's like, you know how hungry I was. This is I'm gonna die now. Like this is my
I'm
last
gonna
day,
die.
and I'm gonna die now.
You know, it is weird looking at it, going, she never cried once anywhere there, and then
No, never was afraid. I will also say that the part that I didn't
psychopath.
like about that, the one reason why I like that clip was, again, I hate to keep saying it, but the lighting is the thing I noticed the most, and it was mostly on Dooku's face. Like they always lit Dooku's face pretty amazing throughout the entire thing.
I need to.
I know I'm a Dooku fan, but I'm just saying, like they lit his face, and that scene is really awesome. And it's like you almost forget at times it's a cartoon because of how well they light. And of course, they did get a pretty top notch acting was going on. At no point was I was like yawning because the acting was bad. They did a pretty good job. I mean, we know most of the cast, but they did a pretty good job, obviously.
So I don't know why I'd never thought this in the past or never read it really, but it made me see that those markings on their faces are like they were born like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they
paint.
They just get bigger, I guess. Like you're kind of born with it, and then the older you get, the more they expand.
Birthmark. Yeah.
Yeah. The more they expand.
Yeah, it's not like Earl Quinlan Voss. You just tattooing onto his baby.
Yeah.
I just think that your baby's like your baby's like 2 minutes old. You're like, hold still, we got to get this tattoo on.
But it's so angular. It's so angular for a natural.
Yeah, that's the style too. Yeah, the animation doing it.
Yeah. So that is that part. The next part was the younger. How young?
Kawhi Yunjin.
You know how young Quinn Jin, how young he was here?
Good point. I'm gonna have to look that up now.
I think they said that it was between two certain points. I can't remember the dates, but it was like a 14-year difference. So they're like somewhere in between these two dates.
I just want to point out how helpful that was. There was between the date of his birth and the date of his death. Sometime in between that, I believe, is when this took place.
Something like that.
Oh man.
Anyways, so they are sent off.
Oh yeah, that's pretty great. You weren't kidding. But timeline for the episode between 68 BBY and 42 BBY.
Wow. So
they get like a 20-year difference in that point.
Perfectly done. Good job, Kachung. You nailed that one. They are also as ambiguous as you were on that one.
Yep.
So the cool thing about this with the opening scene, because I assumed it was a war-torn planet. I assumed they were coming back from after a giant war. And then as the episode progresses, you realize it's not from a war. It's from just sheer poverty and neglect. Because we got ourselves, which no one's ever heard this before, we got ourselves a leadership situation that they are greedy and they don't care about their people. I know you don't hear a lot about that in Star Wars, but we got ourselves a situation here. And here's where I start to have issues, though, a little bit. It's not about Count Dooku. He can do no wrong in my eyes. However, at some point, Star Wars has to let their bad guys be bad guys. And they're not. Like Darth Vader, you almost feel bad for him because although he's Darth Vader, he was Anakin. It's not his fault. Darth Maul was just bad and hated the Jedi until we found out his backstory. Then you understand why, and he's really not that bad. Now it's the Count Dooku, and you actually almost agree with him more than Jedi, forgetting the fact that he's murdering thousands of people right after this. And it's like they try to make them all likable, and I don't know why. I don't know why they're doing this. Sometimes our bad guys just need to be bad. The only one that's staying bad is the king of all bad guys, and that's the that's the emperor there. But they're gonna make him too at some point. I guarantee you're gonna find out some childhood thing. His dad slapped him too hard or something. But
Plagueis visited him one too many times when he was asleep. And then,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Plagueis got a little too Father Plagueis, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, too many rum and cokes before.
And his breath smelled of whiskey as he entered my room. Yeah, and that's the only thing that I have is like I liked it. It was cool, but at some point, especially towards the end, it's like you definitely understand why Count Dooku was doing it. And I just don't know if we need to always have an explanation why bad guys are bad guys. Just let them be asses. Like, just let them be. Like, I think Count Dooku is a better arrogant, greedy guy who we don't know really why. Maybe they passed him over. Like there was a little bit of it, right?
Well, that's what I
later.
liked a lot in the next episode.
Yeah, it was a little bit later, which brought it back for me because that's what I want to see. But I'd rather them focus on that than just saying, "Oh, well, you know." And that's my only complaint. It's a small complaint. I totally, you know, saw it and then fleeted and went by because I was like, we don't need to make the bad guys so understandable all the time. Just make them asses. Like they don't have to be like, what do you call that? Misunderstood, you know, bad guys or whatever. But yeah, so we go there, we see the scene. Here's the only other issue that I have with Star Wars, and I think it's more political. Is it a political thing, you think? That anytime a planet's poor, the people who are poor, like they didn't really explain very well, like why the people are in such bad shape. They just said our senator is greedy. But like, give me an explanation because it kind of just looked like some farmers didn't know how to farm very well, and they're blaming their senator because he's off on another planet. What does he have to do with why your planet looks like crap? Sweep up. You know what I mean? Rake up some of that trash and get rid of it. Like, what does that have to do with him? Like, it was really weird because Ahsoka's people aren't getting, you know what I mean? Like, they're doing fine. They don't have a senator. Like, explain to me what he's doing. Is he kidnapping your kids in the middle of the night? Like, what's happening here? And it's just like, oh, our planet's crap. We're like a bunch of like, you know, white trash from East Texas. I know that's where my family's from. And there's like a used car out front. There's a damn motor hanging from the tree. Like, let me know what happened to the planet that was so bad for the senator guy. But anyways,
it was a long time in the making, but they just didn't go down that route telling that story.
Kenneth Bird is here, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So anyway, that was my rant. So what did you think about this episode, gentlemen?
Yeah, I like this one. Obviously, Qui-Gon Jinn was great, and
you're so blinded by the Qui-Gon Jinn. You're such a fanboy for that, dude.
I am. No, but I like seeing that you were able to see Dooku in this mentor role and actually like taking on like being more using his diplomatic ways and such. There, I like that when he went to meet with the lady, he immediately puts his lightsaber on the table and is like, "Yeah, like there's no worries here." Even though he could just force pull it off the table immediately and just go crazy if he wanted to.
And what I did like about it, sorry, Kachung, what I did like about it though was that he clearly had an edge. Like clearly this isn't an Obi-Wan Kenobi Jedi where he's like, hey guys, we're all beautiful, we're all friends here, we'll figure it out. He was like, I'm throwing that lightsaber on the table. So not only do you see that I'm not going to cut your head off, but at the same time, you recognize some skills. Some skills are on the table. I can do whatever I want to. Like it's still that edge where he clearly handles things a little bit differently.
Like he's smart. He has double-edged sword, really. But and then having throughout the episode too, and like by the end of it, with Dooku having to be restrained and pulled back and grounded by Qui-Gon, really leads to the fact that eventually when Qui-Gon does die, that was his, like, for the longest time, the person that helped ground him and humanized him almost more. And then to have him get killed and ultimately, be Dooku blame the Jedi for it really sets him off. And we get to see that reason why is that relationship.
And that's kind of the point of I think this whole like season, right? Is mentor, leader, or mentor mentee or whatever leadership, their roles, how you see that you can't have children, but you can't help but looking at them as your children, what happens when stuff goes wrong, things like that. So that was kind of the whole thing. And also it was interesting seeing what we know about Qui-Gon Jinn, whatever.
Qui-Gon Jinn.
Whenever he was the one having to calm Dooku down, dude, I got big Kenobi like feels. Like I could see where the because it felt like the same, right? It's like, Master, if you just acted right, you'd be on the council. And he's like, bitch, I want to be on the council, all right? Like I got those same kind of feels. Like who said I want to be on the council? Like I got those same kind of feels a little bit. So like I was like, this is totally the same kind of role, but in different
generational. Just carried right over.
Yeah. So what did you think about this episode, Kachung?
Yeah, I thought we saw how Jin is, wiser than his age, I believe. And as Jose said, he really grounded Dooku. And that's kind of like the point of the episode, I think, really is that Dooku found restraint in not killing the senator, and that really was because of Jin. I mean, I think he probably would have done it without that.
And you know what I got from this too? Because there were some scenes where he's like, be in the moment. I remember him telling Kenobi that, be in the moment, see what the Force wants you to do right this second. Don't think too much about it. To me, another thing I got was him dealing with Count Dooku, or he wasn't a count at this point, but Dooku. It shows you that if he hadn't have died, he was definitely the guy who should have taught Anakin. Because instead of having Anakin having a guy with a little bit of edge, you can say, listen, pull it back. I see what you're doing. Pull it back a bit. I've seen this before. You had the greatest man to ever exist, Kenobi. I'm not going to say anything negative about Kenobi, but instead you had all shucks Boy Scout Kenobi, who was ignoring the fact that he's clearly banging the princess in the back room. He's totally ignoring any of that. He's totally ignoring the fact that I'm pretty sure he murdered 4 people on that back alley back there, but I'm going to keep walking and pretend like I don't hear the lightsaber. Wah, 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 wah. I'm going to keep pretending like I don't hear any of that. So to me, it shows you in a weird roundabout way that he was the guy that should have trained Anakin, like obviously, because he could be able to handle Dooku and kind of keep the shit grounded.
I still find it funny that throughout this whole season, we still never learned Dooku's first name. It's still just Master Dooku or Count Dooku.
All right, so the part that I clipped was this fight. What I wanted to show you is how amazing the allure of the dark side is. Because right before this, they had a scene which I don't think I clipped it because it's too long. And Disney, all these clips belong to you, of course. I'm nothing but a humble servant in your stay. And they were knocking blasters back, but they were being pushed back a bit. They were trying to keep the people safe. And this is the first time where I was kind of like, bad in a good way, like it's a badass scene. But I was like, oh my God, they're going to try to make him likable. They're going to try to explain why he is, because he took one look at like the fallen people and then had his flash of golden eyes for a second. So, I mean, you don't see it, but I'm just meaning figuratively. We had a little flash here, and then you can see how fast he becomes powerful and takes over the situation right here.
Stand down. None shall defy me, not even you, Master Jedi.
It's just an awesome scene because
Qui-Gon got rocked into the wall.
Yeah, first off, this ain't no bum. He just threw like 100 yards into that door hard too. He didn't throw him like get away.
Well, you see the door actually gets marked. It gets damaged.
Like he threw him against that door. Like, know your role. Don't come back over here again. It wasn't just a push out of the way. That was a slam. And he does that famous thing, which I love, because at first it was that swooey stuff. But what's Count Dooku? He's like barely moving his wrist. That's what he does.
Yeah, he's just going like this.
So he's force choking, and he's not doing this anymore. He's just barely moving like this. And it's like, to me, that was so intimidating, that look. Because what you don't see is he looked down at somebody, looked back up, and it was slow look. And in that moment, you're like, oh, there goes Count Dooku right there. That is no longer Jedi Dooku. That's Count Dooku.
The Count
and he force chokes this man while just laying out every soldier that was there. And that was a badass moment because you see the power of the dark side. So that was a cool thing. I did like how, because the lighting is so good, that was right there, that lighting on his face again. But the lighting was good. I think they did a really good job of what you saw that entire episode was nothing but grays, browns, mud, crap, shit probably everywhere. And then when the very evil senator showed up, they're like the most gleaming blue and gold. Like, that is amazing. That was an impressive uniform those guys had. Like, honestly, that was pretty impressive. Like, I don't know, the Emperor's Guards had the uniform, or the Republican Guard or whatever. I don't think they had that impressive of uniforms. And they had like little submachine gun blaster bolts.
Yeah,
like,
MP5s, maybe.
Yeah, they were pretty to the nines right there. So that obviously they wanted that stark comparison between, like, they obviously had enough money to get these guys in the best of everything while they're starving, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't see it until I rewound it, because unfortunately somebody called and wanted to talk at work. So I had to rewind it a bit. That barking dog at the beginning, you can see that dog's ribs. Did you guys notice that? Like, that was a little, I didn't even notice it the first time. And I was like, dude, they got the dog's ribs. The dog's even starving, for God's sakes. That's how you know it's bad, when you let the dog starve. Now the people are angry.
Oh, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that was an awesome episode. I really liked that episode. That was a really good one. What was the next one?
Choices. That was the one with Mace Windu.
Which I liked, but it was weird for me.
Now, why? I like that one too.
I thought it was pretty good.
Because it felt like Mace Windu screwed up. In my opinion, Mace Windu screwed up a lot. Like in the Jedi.
It really showed Mace Windu was really the Boy Scout of the Jedi. He was
yes, and then this.
the council. The council makes the decision. I mean, we don't have the authority here. We should return to the council. And Dooku's like, man,
I was so confused because nothing Dooku was saying was that outrageous, and Mace Windu was like shutting down. No, we got. Misa thinks we got to wait for the council, and I was like, what in the world? This is the man right here, baby. This is purple lightsaber goodness. And he's kind of like, well, let's wait, to see what we're doing here.
Now, by the end of the episode, it gives some good reasoning. The end of the episode is probably my favorite part, easily.
Yeah. But until then, I'm like, is this the same character? Did he get hit on the head later on? Why is he the Kenobi suddenly? He's like, well, hold on now. We got to do what the council says. But that was pretty awesome. I actually liked Count Dooku in this one because sometimes the Jedi are weird. Like one of their guys gets killed and they're like, oh, shucks, what happened? All right, well, thanks for telling us about it. And Count Dooku's like, no, ain't nobody leaving these woods until somebody tells me what happened.
Yeah.
Windu was very much more outspoken than Qui-Gon towards Dooku.
You know what? If there's ever a season 2, maybe we find out that a lot of people change their opinions on stuff because of their dealings with Count Dooku. Maybe that's what they're going to show us. Maybe the long term is that there was a lot more. You know what? He wasn't wrong, and people will say, because like we got a little bit of that later on with Yaddle. It seemed like we she had some stuff she was yelling out to him when they were fighting later on and stuff, and you can see that some of her kind of like, well, I believe him, but it's the council's decision to always be very cautious, kind of thing. And so, and if that's the long-term goal, that'd be pretty cool to show that people were like this after they talked to Dooku, and then later on Qui-Gon, they were like, I don't know, maybe he had a point. This is some silliness going on here. Like at one point when somebody said you're the lapdog of the Republic, and he was like, we don't work for the Republic. And I was like, weird, because in about 20 years, all I hear about is what the Republic says. We must save the Republic. And Count Dooku seems to think that we don't work for the Republic. So I'm a little confused right now. So what about this episode? I actually like this episode. I thought this was a really cool episode. I like it.
It definitely was a lot like the other episode. It was just a bit of a step up.
Yeah,
and there was a lot more, contrast between Dooku and Windu.
Between instead of a mentor and a master, it's two contemporaries, basically.
And the fact that Dooku confronted Windu and kind of wondered if he was going to get a seat on the council, if he knew that before they went there, because he kind of jumped ahead. He jumped ahead in the line,
That was easily for me. That was the best part. Going at the end of the episode, Dooku's like, "So, can I talk to you for a second on the side?" And he goes, "Yeah, so you're becoming a council member." He's like, "Yes, it seems that way. The council chose." And he's like, "Well, did you know that going into this? Is that why you're so much a jackass, being uppity about the rules and all this?" He's like, well, if you Dooku, if you abided by the rules more, you might have been given this role instead. And Dooku's like, go fuck yourself.
It's ironic because it's very much like when Anakin was denied.
Yeah.
And Windu was
that's a good chip on the shoulder there.
Yeah.
For Windu.
Now we gotta ask Windu. Like, if Anakin knew that, he might have brought that up in a sick burn. Like, hey, you remember when you screwed over Count Dooku the same way? You remember that? Now you're trying to pull it on me. You know what you're saying? Know what I'm saying? You remember that?
Yeah. Windu inevitably led to two people becoming Sith Lords because of by taking their seats.
Yeah, it was good. That was what I was talking about. Like, give me more of that. Give me more of the jealousy because I want my bad guy to be a bad guy. Give me more of that, and then even that. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but just the way, I mean, look, that's the purple goodness there. So, although I think he did a lot of weird and interesting decisions that he made throughout the thing that expedited the problem here. I don't know. Did it paint him in the greatest light? Because he says he didn't know, but he ain't like not rubbing it
Oh
in.
no. He
He's
knows.
putting
He's
salt in the wound right
playing
there.
coy here. He's like, I did not. Hey, I'm not a separatist now.
Like it wasn't exactly like, hey man, head up, baby, you'll be next. Like I'll put a good word for it. No, it was kind of like, listen,
I'll put the word into the middle management.
yeah, middle management is not a bad place to be at. It's right there, the striking distance. He didn't really do that. He kind of was like, yeah, no.
You know, I heard Yaddle talking shit about you. Maybe you should. Maybe you could take your seat.
So that was a pretty good one. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Which one was that one?
That would have been the one with Yaddle, the Sith Lord episode.
The Sith Lord episode. So this is where we find out. This is we jump into right after.
Well, no,
Jin meets
Just
up
before-
and has his first encounter.
Right.
Which I had to like really rethink that because I was like, did they have a chance to go back and talk before the second encounter?
Well,
like,
no, the first thing we see in the episode isn't that. The first thing we see is him deleting the records.
oh yeah, I forgot about that. That
Which is even
the-
crazier. That he all he needs to go over there is move Camino into the trash bin. That was it.
That's it.
Can we ask a question about that though? Honestly, like,
I like
are they not making the Jedi kind of stupid at this point? Because their history is full of like, how do you get a dark Jedi? Because a Jedi turns and becomes bad. How do you get Sith at this point? A lot of times it's sometimes it's because they're force sensitive and they just go bad. But a lot of times it's because they're Jedi, like Revan and the rest of them. These are Jedi. Yet you can go into the memory banks of all the Jedi knowledge, sign in as the wrong Jedi, delete a file, and not one alarm bell goes off, not one little pop up on somebody's computer back in the home base is like, hey, whoa, why are things getting deleted? No,
It's funny that there's no biometric
system.
scan, but it's just a password.
That was interesting. Like I was really surprised by that. It's like there's not any kind of like alarm, like, hey, like it didn't even ask. Did you see that? Like it didn't even ask, are you sure you want to delete this? If I try to delete anything in my life, there's 550 pop-ups. Are you sure you want to delete this? You won't have access to it again. Yeah, so then that's when we find out that he just got back. The place is abuzz because your former Padawan ran into a Sith Lord.
And that was such a good knowing that basically happened like essentially right before the scene where he takes Anakin to the council. Like that's such a good addition to the universe.
It was really weird for me because I was talking to you about it beforehand. It was really hard for me to keep track of that for about a half of a second because in like 12 years, 15 years, Dooku is he is an old decrepit man with bright white hair. And in this scene, he barely has any gray. So like I feel like there's a little bit of we could have got a little grayer here. Because that's but the Canadian pointed out that listen, he might have retired on a planet with 2 suns. We know what happens when that happens. You get the life sucked out of you. So you age 30 years and 10. Well, that was the only thing that was kind of confusing right at first, just because I couldn't tell why Count Dooku wasn't older. Like I was like, wait a minute.
He has graying in his sideburns and into his beard, but not a lot. So
yeah. So like, I told him at first, I was like, holy crap, did we just find out that there's a new Sith we didn't even know about before Maul? And then I was like, oh, wait a minute. No, this is Maul. And I was like, wow, he needs to be a little bit older. Just a little bit older.
What was that, Kachin?
Oh, I just thought it was sad to know that was probably the last time they talked.
That was, yeah.
It was, yeah.
And essentially, at the time, too, Dooku already knew about Maul. So,
100% knew about it, yeah. And we find out because when he goes and meets up with Darth Sidious, he's like,
he's pissed.
Your dumbass Maul, like, we're causing problems.
Qui-Gon could have been helpful, and he's like, no, for you, yeah.
Yeah, that's what he's kind of asking him.
But it was cool you seeing Qui-Gon, and then, Liam Neeson coming back for the voice, and then Yaddle, Dooku, and Qui-Gon talking to each other was good. And
I feel like Yaddle seemed a little bit young to me too, because I feel like she was old as crap in the movie. She looked.
She looked like she was like on death's door in the movie. She was like,
yeah.
I was gonna say, what do you guys think about Yaddle having a regular speech pattern?
I just think that Yoda is the exception. I think they all probably speak like that.
Well, so I thought I heard someone bring up a good point, because so far in canon we've only heard Yoda talk like that. We haven't heard anyone else. Yeah. In Legends we had in Knights of the Republic we had the old ones speak like that too. But people had put up a good point or two good points, which is either or theory, sorry, that it's either he talks like that in honor of whoever his old master was spoke like that, or B, because he's really old. We don't know how old Yaddle is per se compared, but it could be he is speaking his species is a really, really, really old version of their dialect,
like an old English style thing.
Yeah, and then Yaddle is more like old English versus just modern English.
Yeah.
Right?
Or a third theory is that as they get older, they change their sentence structure.
They start going senile.
Or it could just be like Yaddle's parents moved to like Coruscant.
Oh, sorry.
She was born on Coruscant or something, not born on her home planet or something. So she grew up hearing.
That's true. We also did not take into account that Yoda could just be inbred. He could be
true.
Right. He could have grown up in Australia, maybe.
What was the name of that movie? Was it Multiplicity, whatever, where they were doing like who was that? And like he made a copy of himself as a DNA copy, like a clone, so he could do more stuff around the house, and ended up being a copy of a copy of a copy. And by like the 30th copy, he was like drooling in the mouth and couldn't even like form sentences. So maybe that's what we find out from Baby Yoda is that Yoda is actually a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy, and that's why his like speech patterns are messed up.
That's how they get Omega.
You and this Omega. I am banning her name for the rest of this thing. I can't take any more Omega.
Hey, I don't know when this was in this episode, but there's a scene where Yaddle and Dooku walk in opposite directions, and Yaddle
that's right after the Qui-Gon leaves.
Yaddle's walking in the sunlight, and Dooku's walking in the shade down a hallway or something, and that's very reminiscent. Like it's very like what's the word? Foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing happens later.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
And then so I think it's pretty much the end of this episode, right? And then we go on to the next one.
No, the episode's the same one that has Yaddle and him talking.
The duel. Are you kidding me?
Was that in this episode?
Yeah, it's all one episode.
A later episode.
No, it's all one episode.
Okay.
That happens. And then Yaddle,
you know what? Yeah, because it was confusing because suddenly he's by a tree and I had no idea what was
happening. Yeah, it time jumps.
Right.
Yaddle's in front of the tree with Dooku talking about Qui-Gon's funeral, and like, we're gonna go to Naboo for his funeral. And then well, I found interesting Dooku his speech talking about how Qui-Gon was interested in the tree, given that it's the only he grew up in Coruscant metal. This is the only real tree there. And then after that it's the duel. It's where he goes to meet Sidious, and then the duel with Yaddle.
And I actually don't have a clip for this. I wanted to, but all the clips I could find on YouTube, the music for some reason, I don't know if it was to drown out the Star Wars bots, but it was super loud, and I could not get it to where you could hear them talking, and that's kind of what I wanted to show. Here they're talking, so you might have to watch the show if you haven't watched our YouTube. The fight scene, it was pretty good. The part that I thought was interesting was he had the parrot on his shoulder telling him what to do.
Right.
He had the old angel and devil trying to get Count Dooku to see the light. And the part that we were talking about earlier, what she saw was, hey, I'm on your side. I just stepped down from the council and everything. I'm not disagreeing with what you said. You're just going about it the wrong way. Like, I thought that was a pretty interesting take that she had.
No, I guess it's interesting that we don't know if Yaddle, obviously she's dead, but we don't know if the Jedi know because she just stepped down from the council and just disappeared, right?
Yeah.
So that no one knows she died except Dooku.
What did you think of her death? Do you think that was a good ending to her story? That she was
sure.
Because there's always rumors she left and then she went and had Baby Yoda and all these kind of crazy rumors, and we just find out now she just poked her nose in the wrong business and got dealt with.
Yeah, wrong place. Just should have ran. Should have did what Mace Windu always keeps saying, which is go to the council, wait for the council.
Go to the council. Look to Mace Windu in the situation.
What Mace Windu do? I'll go away to the council.
But she followed him.
Yeah,
and it's interesting because Sidious thought that it was a setup.
Sidious, I think Sidious shit himself. Sidious shit himself. I think he thought that was Yoda that was there. He was like, "Oh, freaking!" And he turns and there's the hair. Oh, okay, that's okay.
Yeah, I did think it was interesting because Count Dooku at this point, Jedi Dooku at this point, is pretty famous for his fighting abilities. So she knew that was a problem. she knew. I mean, obviously, she wasn't the greatest fighter ever because it wasn't like it was that close of a fight. Like, I mean, and she knew that probably this guy's either a Sith or maybe the head of the Sith. This might be a Dark Lord, and they didn't know she was there. I think he did know she was there. I think Boss Man knew she was there because he's a little too powerful not to sense that a freaking female Yoda is 2 feet away from him. But they didn't know she was there. And the play probably honestly was sneaky little 1 foot ass back over the ledge, get back in your plane and set off the alarms. Holy crap, send all the forces. They're all here in one spot. Instead of going, well, what do we got here? Like, I thought that was like, wow, that's interesting. She just jumped right in that.
But
The
yeah,
only thing I do understand that it makes sense because like she doesn't trust, like, seeing as Dooku and such doesn't really trust the council as much. She you know, if she goes back to them and say, hey, Dooku's a Dark Lord and all this, they're like, what are you on about? And then like as you know, as they did before with other things.
And then, you know, sometimes the question I do have, and see what you guys think. Maybe I missed something. Didn't Yoda teach us that it doesn't matter if it's a pebble or a jet fighter, that it's nothing to the Force, and you're looking at it like it's an object that has weight, and you shouldn't? Like, it's exactly the same weight if you believe in the Force of a pebble or an X-wing. And she left that big door, which was badass, but then she was so exhausted from it that she couldn't like even stand up or talk anymore. I was like, wait, did you not listen to Yoda? Yoda told me that a pebble and an X-wing is the same size. Like, I don't know why she's getting so worn out from this door.
Yoda likes to talk shit.
Yoda just says stuff. He's inspirational. He's like that guy. No, you can go through the brick wall. Let's go, go, go. And then the person hits and gets knocked
You
out.
believe hard enough.
Dooku was in control of it, so he probably had a bit of extra pressure.
Well, it's funny is you're just standing there holding the door open. Dooku just throws his lightsaber and just.
I was surprised, disappointed, and then actually very happy of how they did that, because I thought for sure they were going to do that crutch and have her, when she's trying to talk Dooku into it, that she's going to get a little force lightning up the ass from Boss Man and weaken her a little bit. And he didn't. He just like, let me see what you're made out of. And then so I thought that was actually really cool, because then Count Dooku was like, well, now let me help you rest, or whatever he said, which is a pretty good line. And just
surprised he didn't
right
say
there on the spot. And I was like, there we go. Now we're back to being a bad guy again. But I thought it was interesting because Sidious was just like, okay, like, let's see what you got. Like, finish your business here. Let me see what you got. It was pretty cool. It was a good moment.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I'm surprised he didn't say kill him like he did to Anakin killing Dooku.
Do it.
He was standing there as well. He's like, oh, here's your revenge.
Here's your revenge of the Sith.
Well, it was funny because how cold he said, look, we both lost Apprentice today. So, you know, have a Coke and show
that was
up.
So funny. He was like, yeah, I lost someone too. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I lost an apprentice.
You did. You just didn't care.
All in the name of the cause, brother. All in the name of the cause.
But I think Yaddle followed him thinking that she'd be able to talk him down.
Yeah, I think so too.
But obviously didn't expect Sidious to be there. So
yeah.
That's
which is weird because the conversations that we saw behind the curtain, I never got this thing that they were super tight. Like, she was like, you remember all those long nights we talked about how corrupted? No, it was just like, hey, what are you doing? Yeah, I don't got time for this. What do you want? Like, I never really got the sense that they were like super tight, where she was like, I can talk them out of this. Like, I never got that sense, but maybe we don't know about the inner workings of the, you know, beer night or whatever.
Well, I really enjoyed that saber battle. I think the music was probably
the music was very good.
The best
music was good. The battle was good because it was more like two Jedis fighting, and it wasn't the wire work that Yoda used in the original one. He had a lot of wire help there, having him flip all over the place.
Right.
All right. So, what is the next episode?
That is the one called Practice Makes Perfect. The Ahsoka getting beat up for 10 minutes.
So it starts off us with the famous training ball of shooting lasers.
Very confusing though, that moment, because your boy Kenobi.
Yeah, what's up with the mullet, baby?
So it's confusing because he apparently, as he said, and also recently too in the Obi-Wan comic, that as soon as the Clone Wars began, he just chopped it off, went for the shortcut because he said the hair was in his way. So he literally went short covered away. So I don't know and we saw when Ahsoka shows up in Clone Wars, he has that that hair. So I don't know what point he forgot to cut his hair or something. Went back
I
to
don't like
mullet.
it. I don't think the Clone Wars, because of the angular cartoon they are, I don't think long hair, they don't do that long hair very well. Like human long hair, it looks kind of weird. So I was not a fan of the mullet, although it was nice. I was thinking about America. If he had screamed out America, maybe then I would have gone for it. I was not thrilled with the mullet. I was not happy with it. But it is what it is. So she had the little training bowls, and everyone seems very impressed. Anakin, not impressed. Anakin just like walks out on her, and she has to chase after him. Like, hey, what is the problem, man?
Yeah, I was confused too. I was like, what the hell is he? And then
and then unnecessary in my opinion, because I think we can just assume that Jedi are pretty good, but it's laying the groundwork to explain, which I will admit I did smile whenever we find out that the training makes perfect, and it totally leads right into how she survived Order 66, and you find out how she survived. It seems like, I mean, if I'm going to be honest and fair, I know I like the cartoons. Clone Wars is my favorite. David Filoni can do no wrong. If this was a movie that was done by the people who should not be named, I'm like, it's a little too convenient, don't you think, that he just happened to have her trained the exact same way that she gets attacked later? I would say it seemed a little too convenient. That being said, I like the fan service. It was cool. Basically, he said, listen, anybody can knock down lasers from a ball. Like, and he like whistles, boys, and he had the boys surround her with their weapons and says,
so funny.
Put her in the circle, and if you can get through these guys, you can make it through anything, basically. And
I just destroyed her.
It's a long one, so Star Wars. I apologize, but I kind of had to get through it. I hope I clipped this right. Let's see.
Captain Rex and the boys have agreed to help with the test.
It's our privilege, Commander.
Let's get started. Head out to the center. Make sure your blasters are set to stun. You need to remain calm. Think. Feel the intention of the trooper who will fire first. Begin.
How long was I out?
An hour.
Not bad. It took us 5 minutes to knock you out that time.
I can do better.
Begin!
I was gonna say, I'm sure two lightsabers helped over the one, add some extra time in that. But the other point, I like that when the first time she's knocked out, she wakes up on the ground there and say, "How long was I out? An hour?" And it's like, so they all just kind of just stood off of the corner, had a coffee break, just leave her on the floor.
Yeah,
what I could do, because that whole thing is very long. It's a whole episode basically of her just training. So all the clips I could find were people breaking up themselves. So it was hard for me to break it up. But it wasn't just that. There was like 5 other times she got knocked out before she ages, and they say that she's been doing it forever. And they're like, "Oh, well, this time you didn't take as long to wake up." And I'm like, "So what are they doing? They're just shooting her, and then they're all hanging out playing cards until she finally wakes up."
They're literally off to the side having some beers.
That was like a 13-hour training session apparently, and they're just like shooting her. Yeah, she fell down again. And the other question I had was, whenever she dodges some of those, they don't really show you where they go. But isn't there a chance that because we're in a circle and I'm shooting, right?
Yeah, it's gonna hit the next guy.
Can I take one to the chest? Like, am I gonna get knocked out because she dodged? I'm like, That's what I need to know before I volunteer to go to put somebody in the circle and not start shooting my gun at her. Like, that's I don't want to take one to the chest and also get knocked out.
So funny. Well, that's the thing. You get knocked out, then you stay in the circle. You get easy. You get paid for the next couple of hours just to play some cards and drink some beers. But if you get knocked out, you get knocked out. It's part of the game.
I did think it was weird because it was neat and weird because that was also Anakin like doing some extremely hands-on extracurricular training that I don't know if we saw a lot in Clone Wars. So it was weird that we got that training. Like I said, it was a little bit convenient. However, I like it. It's fan service. What it is. David Filoni's pretty famous for the fan service, and it did explain that how she got away. And honestly, in the long term thing, it's not a bad thing. Now, the more I think about it, because it does explain why all these super powerful master Jedis got their cheeks clapped, and she was able to get away. And it does explain, well, she's able to get away because Anakin taught her this exact moment how to get away. I mean,
practicing
training report, but she was training how to get away from this exact same moment. So that's fine. Like, it does it. I think you could put that in a book. I don't know if you needed to make an entire thing for it, but I'm here. I liked it. Star Wars can't disappoint me, baby. So whatever I can give of Star Wars, I'll take it.
I really enjoyed it. I did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I thought, it just that. The fact that she was basically training for Order 66, that gave it enough weight to make it a really good episode.
I think the key to that is, like you were saying, it was showing her even towards the end, right before Clone Wars, as we know, as the cartoon's over with. She now got the dual blade. She's clearly older, and they're still, when they get every chance they get, putting her in the middle and saying, "Dodge this." Plus, would it be fun though? Because the Jedi kind of boss them around a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, hey, you go around the corner, get shot. I'm going the other way. And they're like, man, I'm getting tired of that little Ahsoka. Hey, listen, at 5, remember? We get to put her in the middle. We get to knock her ass out again. So let's just get through this.
It made me wonder, after Order 66, how much coffee breaks did they take? Endless.
All right, so is that it?
We have the last episode after that.
There's one more.
What was the last episode?
That was the one with her on the farm.
With the 6th brother.
And the
oh, jeez, Wheeze, yes.
You're really all over the place.
I totally forgot about that one.
So I think that's in the bottom of your list, I guess, if you forgot about it.
No, it's actually a good one. It bothers me about some play. This is the part that I will say Star Wars has a problem with, and they always regret what they do later, and we'll come to that. So fast, because it's already an hour. I don't think we're going to take this long to do this. Really fast, this one, she's hiding. She's doing the I'm hiding Jedi thing. And like the Grand Inquisitor said, the problem with the Jedi is they just can't stop being Jedi. And of course, some girl's about to get crushed by some hay bales, and she has to rescue her. And as we know now, she didn't know it then, but as we know now, that's death sentence. She just got that whole village killed because now they're going to.
That she does the force push to get out of there, but then like she just still holds the position for so long after.
Well, not necessarily holding that pose. You could have just done a really little finger move and then let it go back, like the old school Kenobi did. The old Kenobi does a little quick finger, and that's all you need. Mm-hmm. She did. I mean, she was asking for it because she did, like you said, she did hold it out. She's like, oh, you saw me? Like, yeah, I think you did. I think you guys saw. Yeah.
I did like the funeral at the start. That was cool.
Oh yeah, sorry, the funeral at the beginning too.
Yeah, we did.
Which is a weird.
I will say, we'll talk about the funeral in a minute since we're already talking about this. They did have the brother sell out, getting a little tired of like the whiny brother does all the selling out. However, this time it was different. Like this guy actually believed that the Empire was the answer. Like he really did believe. He just wasn't some jealous brother who didn't like the newcomer. He really did believe the Empire is the answer to all their problems. Sold her out. What I did like was the Star Wars went full. They full send this. It wasn't like they had like the villagers up ready to be killed. That some bitch burnt the village, salted the fields. There was only 2 survivors left and was waiting for her to show up. I was like, man, they went full send on this. They killed that whole village. Holy Jesus. Here's the part that I think Star Wars is going to regret. I thought that guy looked amazing. I thought his character design was awesome. Yeah. I immediately want to know more about this guy. Every time Star Wars makes a guy that looks really cool, Boba Fett, Darth Maul, they kill him off super fast, and I'm like, who the hell was that guy? So now we're gonna have to have like comic books and books about this guy, and we're gonna find out later he didn't actually die. We're gonna find out that he came back because they're gonna make this. Because I thought he looked cool. Like I thought he was a really cool looking.
He grew little legs out of his head, and he ran off.
So yeah, I just thought it was a cool character. I thought it was surprising how fast they let Ahsoka kill him. Like that wasn't a fight. She just.
Yeah, he was gone. He was done.
Like, can I ask a question? As fast as she literally did not have a weapon, took his stick and beat him with it and killed him. How did he ever win any sparring session with Darth Vader? Because as we know of Darth Vader will cut your arm off. how did he ever get through a Darth Vader sparring session if she just literally bitch slapped him, took his cane, and beat him with it? Like
maybe every time the session came up, he was like, "Oh, I'm not feeling too well. I'm calling in sick today."
He's like, "Oh man, I got a stomach ache, boss. Can I go sit down?"
Sorry, I gotta go pick my kid up from daycare. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool. I mean, the episode was kind of like, because it was just, what happens when the Jedi try to hide. Oh no, they got found out.
And it's an adaptation of the book, and it changes a bunch of stuff from it, but it's essentially the same thing they did. So
what do you think about that? What do you think about it when Disney comes out, as Disney loves to do, and says everything from December 1st from now on is canon, and then they have two things back to back that are not following each other?
Like the Kanan thing was the first super noticeable one, where how his thing changed from Bad Batch and the comic, and then this changes from the book. And it just goes to show you that they just the books and comics are canon until they just say screw it, we're gonna do it differently on live action.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, but it is what it is. But it was a good episode. It was just, like now that would have been neat if we had got that 5-10 years ago. But now we've had a lot of stories in video games and books where Jedi were hiding out in a village or in a mine or wherever. So although it's good, like it wasn't like I was like, oh, that's what they were doing. Because I already knew like she's gonna be hiding in some manual labor job, trying not to eating soup by herself or whatever. Not, so I kind of knew about it. So that was pretty cool. Anything you want to add to that?
Although it being short, the fight, I mean, the duel, it was like a samurai dispatching their opponent, like just real quick.
It reminded me of the Kenobi Maul fight. Like it was over with one swing. Like it was, which, legitimately, if you have a lightsaber sword, that's probably what it would be more like than it would be the
like a true, that way.
The Kenobi, which is it's become a meme. It's gonna get worse as years go on. The Kenobi and Darth Vader. I guess by that time he's Darth Vader scene where they're just floating on robots, swinging in a 360 motion for 20 straight minutes, not hitting each other. It's like that's gonna, but yeah. So that's good. Then we go to the funeral, which I actually thought the funeral was pretty well done. The only issue that I have with the funeral is what I told, but right before you came on, Kachung, is why is Bail Organa still living? Because they're using him as a plot device so many times that I was telling him in all these TV shows and movies and everything else. Every time they have a report of rebel activity or a Jedi, Bail Organa just left the area. Like he just turned the corner. Like, oh, hello, troopers. I can't be here. At some point, somebody had to put this together and go, you know what? This guy is always in the area when this stuff happens. Maybe we ought to arrest him. Like it's a little bit much now. Like I like him, so I'm here for it. But we got like one more time he gets caught with a Jedi or caught with a rebel, and I'm like, okay, at some point they had to arrest him at this point. Come on, guys. Like he's always around. And then as you were saying to me, which I totally forgot about, that is not canon. Well, I guess it is now, but it wasn't before.
Yeah, that basically Ahsoka after the events of the Clone Wars and such, episode 3, she never met Organa in person. Especially when she took the Fulcrum role, she never met him in person. It was only through like the name and all that stuff. She did meet him later on as Fulcrum, but like not before taking on the role of Fulcrum. So her meeting him twice in the same episode is another departure, right? Like her also being at the funeral is very wild to me. I don't know how I feel about that. Like this Tortuga sneaking in there and like
here's the reason why
it's super heavily watched because of like who knows who's going to show up to the funeral of her, right?
And it was well known that they knew each other and were friends. Like it's well known, and she's being looked for. Obviously, he even said they're looking for you. Here's my thing. It reminds me of when you watch a movie and clearly everyone should be masked up. Like everybody should have a helmet on or a mask. But Tom Cruise refuses to be in a movie where you can't see his face. For some reason, it doesn't really make sense to the plot. He never has the mask or helmet on and no one seems to know. She was at a funeral with a hood. Now, at this point, Star Wars people, the guards, have to know that anybody who has a hood on is suspicious because nobody has a hood on except for that one Jedi who's trying to hide. He's got the hood on. And so if I'm lieutenant,
it doesn't help the hood is also humongous because of her her
Yeah, because
tendrils. So it's like it looks like a giant like
sticks out a little bit. But that would be my rule. Okay, listen, there's not enough of us to do the whole crowd. So what we're going to do, anybody who has a hood on, we're going to snatch them out of the thing and we're going to double check them because everybody else doesn't have hood on. Don't worry
ID them. Well, the ID Bail Organa, and Bail Organa is a pretty well-known face, and they still ID'd him.
And so I just thought that with all the different aliens of the world, like you can't put on a veil, a mask, pretend to be something else, put on a bounty, hell, Princess Leia put on a freaking bounty hunters thing. Like you can't put on a mask if you're going to one of the most well-watched things. It seemed a little bit.
I'm also sure that funeral was televised.
So yeah, he meets up with their hands are a stick, which is apparently a device to send help if needed. The other issue that I had kind of with that is I don't think it was necessary.
Leo's got a whole box. He bought those at Costco, and he's been giving them out to different Jedi.
Oh, he got them from everywhere. I don't know who's making those for him, but they put those
It
out.
had data on it from some deleted planet.
Also, I don't think it was necessary to save those 3 people. I think it could have been just as much as if the brother had murdered them in front of her, and that's what got her to fight him or something. Because it seems so irresponsible to call Bail Organa, who's got to be getting watched at this point, like he's got to be watched, to ask him to personally fly a ship to this place where you just sent a brother there. Like then the Empire knows they sent one of their guys there, and Bail Organa's ship lands just to take 3 nobodies and goes home. I was like, why are you there? Why did he come himself? What in the world? Send a damn droid or something. What are you doing?
Organa's a go-getter,
He gets it done. Look, he gets his hands dirty. He's foot on the ground kind of guy.
He had to go take that baby.
So that was kind of my thing. I was kind of like, man, that's unnecessary risk for like 3 random farmers. Like that seems weird to me. Because in the other show we're watching, that's not a gun will blackmail anybody and shoot anybody for literally no reason. And here we almost put the entire Rebel organization out of commission for 3 random farmers we don't know nothing about. Like it seemed a little bit okay.
That's so funny.
All right, so let's do quickly 1 out of 10. What do you give it?
The whole show?
Hey, or Kachung, what do you give it?
The whole show?
Yeah, overall.
Maybe 6.5.
All right, Canadian, what do you give it?
I was gonna say a 7. Yeah, pretty overall good. Just as we said before.
The Haterade, I'm giving it an 8. I'm giving it a solid 8. 7.98. I think it was pretty decent. I didn't have an issue with it.
It helped you forgot a couple of the episodes as we were going.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Like yeah, most of them were not needed, but as a fan of Star Wars, I'd rather have that where I'm not constantly going than not have it, I guess. So it was fun. All right, so we're gonna rank them really fast.
Yeah, I'll do a quick ranking.
In your last place spot.
Yes. All right, you go. You want to go first, Kachun?
Yeah, do Kachun first. Let's do Kachun.
Episode 1.
I think that will be repeated right here.
Right.
Episode 1. Shocking.
Not bad. It's just boring.
Yeah.
Definition of not needed. I mean, it's cute. Like I said, I have no doubt that I can't believe I don't see baby Ahsoka's everywhere at my local Walmart. But
seeing how long it took them to do Baby Yoda, I wouldn't be surprised.
All right, so I guess we'll go in opposite order. What is your number 5 or whatever number it is?
Resolves. That's the one we just episode 6, the one we just talked about.
Seriously,
what we just talked about.
Yeah.
That is not Kachung's. I guarantee you that is not his.
Not too.
Wow. We got some controversy.
This is the visions all over again.
I was thinking the same thing when I saw that. I was like, he's watching a different shows than we are. That's what makes it beautiful.
Clearly.
All right, what's your next place one?
Oh, me.
Yeah.
There we go. 3.
Oh my God, he's literally choking at this information, ladies and gentlemen. He is literally choking to death. Practice makes perfect. Oh, Kachun's gonna go crazy. That might be his number 1 spot. I got to feel that's his number 1 spot right there. All right, Canadian, what's your next one?
So funny.
Number
There it
3 is Justice.
Oh man, that was so funny.
Our lists are totally different except the first episode.
That's
Resolve.
that's hilarious. You're actually it's gonna be totally different because I know what your top pick is. It's not the same as mine.
God almighty, I almost wish we had like, I don't know, saw this live or something because you guys are watching 6 different cartoons or something. Good Lord almighty. All right, where are we? I think it's Dave. Dave, what is your next one?
Oh, number 2. There it is.
Practice makes
Number
perfect.
2.
Oh wow, I thought that was gonna be his number 1.
No, I know his number one. I know his number one's gonna be.
All right, what's your number 2? The Sith Lord.
They are so different.
That was entirely.
All right, then
Everything
what's
is
number 1?
different.
Obviously, we should, it's obviously gonna be the Sith Lord is the number 1, and what is yours? Just so we know.
Choices.
Take a
Choices.
screenshot of that, would you?
Choice is at the bottom of his list, pretty much, and you got it at number 1. Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Controversial.
completely different except for Life and Death.
Okay, so apparently, if you're watching at home, you don't need to watch Life and Death, and the Sith Lord is apparently decent because they both have it towards the top. The rest of them, it's all over the
Yeah.
place.
It's just a choose your own adventure, really.
What's funny is the fact that Life is the first episode's Ahsoka, and then the next 3 are all Dooku, and then the last 2 are Ahsoka. So the first one really is out of order entirely.
Right. It is. Well, all right, awesome. Well, there it is. There's the review.
That's hilarious. They're completely different.
I didn't think they were gonna be that different. I thought they
I
might be a
didn't think
little
so
bit
either.
different.
I thought we were going to be the same, Kachun. I'm disappointed in you.
hilarious.
He's disappointed. He's disappointed that you're wrong in your choices. He's disappointed in you. Be honest with you.
I know you can't be
What I
disappointed.
said
But
last week.
you can't be disappointed, but I know I can.
Are we doing news and stuff?
Yep.
Exactly. I
are.
think our show lasted longer than the actual runtime of all 6 episodes. I'm just
It
gonna
did.
put that out there.
It did. So I mean,
In
we
case
also have like
wondering.
15 minutes of freezing we were going through at the beginning.
True. I don't
I
even
gotta
remember how to
say
do
though
this
that
thing,
just
but-
before we completely get off topic,
Yeah.
that duel between Dooku and Yaddle was just
Very good.
it sent goosebumps. That was the only scene in the entire series that sent goosebumps up my spine
Mhm.
because of the music, just the intensity, just the writing.
And things you knew the outcome going into it. As soon as they lit the lightsabers up, you knew what was going to happen too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really.
Remember
well
what
done.
I said last week? Top 20 moments.
Top
that
20
was-
moments.
That
Well,
was
you're
it.
gonna have to get for our going into our Christmas special of the year. You're gonna have to get the other 19.
Oh,
The other 19.
Oh, I didn't. I don't want to. I don't want to do this.
What?
It's asking him to
There's
restart.
a bunch of
his
toys
computer.
at the end. And I already told you. I was like, I was trying to. Whatever.
Some of those toys are old, so
I
No,
just
it's not.
found this. I just found
yeah,
this.
they are
in
because this
the-
is like a month old of news. Oh, look at that! You what?
I just
You know
found
they
it
actually
in the couch, in the gap in the couch.
Star Wars posted a thing saying that Ewok babies are Ewus or whatever they called them, but they're given those little hoods when they become when they join adulthood. They give them
Oh.
their little hoods.
I thought
The
it was
sli-
when they
slides
eat their
at the top.
second stormtrooper.
Where is
And then they go
the?
up the stairs.
When they kill and
Where
eat
is the
first
actual slide
stormtrooper.
part?
It's not like you click it every single time for the past.
Oh, I
Hey,
like
it's
the
not my
background.
fault. You decided to have a honeymoon for 4.5 months, and I don't remember how to do any of this anymore.
That's fair.
It's a good background.
It is, yeah.
That is a cool background, actually. All right,
So we got.
so here we go.
There's lots of different news.
TV, film.
Yeah. Lots of
Boom,
different
here we
news.
go.
So I split it up. So we have
Wow, really?
first things
Yeah.
first, get it out of the way. Bad Batch trailer came out again, and just to remind you, they put a poster out with a very weird looking Omega face.
What the hell is this helmet she's got on? That looks ridiculous.
She is giant.
She grew since the last time we see her.
She did.
Yeah.
She got huge.
So
now
yeah,
I actually believe that she can kick some ass. She's that big. That's
just
nice.
to remind
I
you,
like that.
January 4th is when this comes out. As Kachun let us know, first 2 episodes are coming out together, and then after that, how many was it total? 16 episodes.
16 episodes.
There is no way there's need to be that much storytelling of her 16 episodes. My ass. Anyway,
onto a different show. That's better. Mandalorian.
I never heard of
Season
this show.
3.
Is it good?
I don't know. The Baby Yoda show is pretty good. So yeah, they gave a release date now. So March 1st is when the show will premiere.
Did they release that before they told us about Bad Batch, right?
Yeah, they did that actually to warm you up.
I was about to say,
Yeah.
it was like they wanted to give you that bad pill, so they gave you the cocoa first, then they gave you that damn pill.
But yeah, so I'm excited. That's gonna be good. This was interesting news. The Acolyte, they showed off the cast, but they didn't say any of the what they're playing, of course.
Wow. That's that guy from The Good Place.
Yeah, I only recognize 2. Obviously, Carrie-Anne Moss and then Lee Jun-jae. They're the only 2 people I recognize.
You know what I don't like about this, and I'm being completely serious? They're all way too pretty. Like, everybody in this thing is pretty. I don't like that. Like
the top right guy, you know him.
Well, at the bottom, the top right guy?
He's from The Good Place. He's like that.
I don't even know the good. Well, I like the one the bottom middle looks like he's dead. He's in black and white.
I was about to say, is that a memorial or what is that? Yeah, they're all too pretty. I don't know. Like, I just want good actors. Whenever they're all very pretty, it gives me WB vibes. So I don't know how this is going.
Carrie-Anne Moss is interesting to me. I wonder if because it's supposed to be a more Sith focused or dark side focused during the High Republic, less the Jedi. So I'm curious if she's playing like possibly like Plagueis' master or something like that.
Probably just someone's mom.
Just
it's be interesting.
She's pouring some of the Cocoa Puffs for the milk.
It's very interesting because like right now on my gaming channel, there you go, plug. I'm playing Knights of the Republic, and what I did know from Knights of the Republic, it's a very we'll call it British centric Sith, and these are a very culturally diverse group. So I wonder, is the Sith going to open their ranks, or is this people who are, some are, some aren't? I wonder how that's going to go. It's interesting.
And then some video game news, actually. Really exciting. They showed off a poster. I think it's supposed to be the cover art for Jedi Survivor because tomorrow is the Game Awards, and they're going to be doing a gameplay reveal at the show. So we're going to be seeing gameplay from the new game. And possibly a release date because they still have not given one. Sweet. Presumably March, April.
Okay. Well, that's a pretty awesome poster. I wouldn't mind having that poster actually. Instead of an Omega poster, it'd be nice if somebody sent me that poster instead. But
I hope you frame that, man.
You asked for
Two couple of things here. So on the left, so Lego Star Wars, they've announced it before, is that the Galactic Edition of the game, which is going to have all the DLC included, bundled in, is coming out for regular full price. On top of that, they also already added the game to the regular game to Game Pass on Xbox, so you can play it for free if you have that service.
Yeah, I might be playing that.
Amazing game
tonight or tomorrow on Twitch. Actually,
very good game. And on the right, so obviously that company again, Limited Run, they did another release of Knights of the Republic again. But this time it's in the form of a VHS tape.
What?
Like the box looks like a VHS tape for the Switch game. The Switch game is only a little cartridge.
Yeah.
So basically, I don't know what the full price is of that, but
it's expensive. They're always expensive. These damn redo games.
Is it just a taping of someone's like run through the game?
It's fake. It's just a box art.
It's like they'll make it look like, right?
Yeah, it's just a box art.
That would be funny though. It's just a playthrough. So
you play it, it's all grainy material behind the scenes how they did it.
Someone's recording of like Predator from 1990.
They re-recorded over it, so it's constantly jumping back in and out of it. So here's a good one. That's really cool, and I added it to the thing. And what do I see a day later that Craig posts on his Instagram? Yeah, that's
this one, the better version of this one.
Yes. So that was the thing that caught me off guard. I was like, wait, what the hell? Because the one I saw that they showed off is it's the Funko's been doing these things where they have the comic background with the Funko.
Yeah.
So this one has Luke with his blaster and R2-D2. Now, there is one that you saw, Craig, that had him with a lightsaber.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that where that was at Walmart or where
It's
was
at
that?
Walmart. It's a Walmart exclusive. Yeah.
So that's the Walmart exclusive. And this is just the generic. Okay.
And for the 100,000 people who asked me, not really. There's only like 10 people that follow me on Instagram. But for all 10 people who asked me, I know I did not buy it because I don't buy pops. So
what you could do is just you could buy it, tear it open, just take the back card, and you can.
Let me tell you something. Look, when you know that you have a sickness of collecting and it's a problem, it's best not to bring the drugs into your house. So I don't buy pops. So I did not buy it. It's really cool though. It's super cool.
And then comic in the back.
Well, so sorry. That's the thing. It's supposed to be a comic, is what all those ones are, but it's the movie poster.
No.
Which is strange because it's the comic.
And when I saw it, basically the blue part that says pop that comes off, and it's in a plastic case. Like it looks like it's in a case. Like somebody did a what do you call it, diorama or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's a big case, a plastic see-through case with the pop in it, with fitting into the background of the comic book, or in this case, the movie poster. It's really cool.
So it's just takes up space kind of thing.
Yeah,
it is. It's just a shelf take up space thing. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Like all collectibles.
On the right is for Kachun. It's Forlom and Suckass.
Suckass!
2-pack collection.
2 for 1? Or you have to pay double the price?
Probably 1.5 times. Right. Knowing that, Oh, actually, here's the best part, too. If you look at it, it actually has the original typing. So Forlom's name is over Suckass, and Suckass is over Forlom.
I collect toys, obviously. I don't like retro because it is retro. It's like they don't move. They're very like 1970, which is awesome. I just happen to like the new ones that have a lot of maneuverability and they look a lot cooler. So I don't actually collect retro, but these are pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. I would just go for the original at that point.
When are they coming out?
I don't know because these were all partially news a month ago up till now. I think they might be out already, but
That's a full-on skip right here. I have no need for this in my collection.
This is the only other Andro figure that I saw that was shown off, which is Vel.
That's weird.
But the thing is, you need this one because this is the first appearance of the AK-47 in Star Wars.
It is actually. I would rather have her girlfriend than her. Like her girlfriend, to me, was a more interesting character than she was.
It'd be good to have a combo pack of them.
Yeah, like I don't need this one. This is kind of a weird one. But
nice
you get the AK-47 assault rifle. That's nice.
Just make sure that it's in the box.
Yeah.
So
this is the Gaming Greats. This is another one. This is for Cal Kestis of the new one, Jedi Survivor.
That's a weird scan. Maybe that's just a bad picture. He looks weird right there.
He does. So they do have. I was noticing in these ones, they looked a little strange.
He looks like an Amazon delivery driver a little bit.
Huh. That's okay. That's cool. That looks weird. I don't know how I feel about that. Oh God, this is the one I said. Oh damn.
I knew it. Yeah. So this is Darth Malik. I think this is a GameStop exclusive one, but it is pretty
GameStop
cool.
exclusive. I don't even have. Okay. Well, okay. Anybody wants to sell me one at a ridiculously marked up rate? Here's your opportunity. I will be buying one.
So this is Anakin's idol by the look of it. He took his look.
Do you know how he lost his jaw? We should probably save it when we do a thing. He basically backtalk got that bitch cut off. That's how he lost his jaw.
Imagine that.
He talked smack to Revan, and Revan cut that damn jaw smooth off, son.
Wow.
Skill.
That's really cool. That's full. That's everyday buy right there. That's really
now
cool.
This is for Kachun. This one.
Look at Kachun. All of a sudden, now he feels my pain with this. Oh, Jesus.
So the next Star Trooper, not. So now that we have Creel, we have.
Well, I still haven't been able to find Creel.
No. Oh God, Ben. I'm sorry. Well, we have Mike now. Which is cool. So what's kind of funny is even though they've been doing the stupid cardboard thing with no plastic, the comic ones have a better vibe because they have the front shield that opens up.
It makes more sense. Yeah.
So it looks a little better in that aspect.
Yeah.
No, what's the name of the big guy?
I can't express myself enough. Check your box before you buy it, because I've said this before. People are purposely removing them just because they're annoyed that they're doing this with the see-through. So people are doing it out of spite, not just because they're stealing. So please check your box before you buy anything. Even on Amazon, people are getting Amazon boxes empty.
What's the
what? Remember, what's the name of the big guy and the sniper again?
What in Task Force 99?
Yeah. Wrecker? Is it Wrecker and Crosshair?
I have it written down somewhere.
Because I
'Cause,
would
like,
those
I
are
compared them to the Bad Batch at one stage. And they
yeah,
were-
we did. I would
they were
like
like-
those guys to be cool to see next.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
Mike is
That's a
cool though.
Hmm
That's a cool one. I like that.
And the next panel has just a close up of the figure itself.
Oh, that's pretty cool, man. All right, Kachong, get the wallet out, brother. That's gonna be on the
Checking
shelf.
time. No, I gotta
Christmas-
get Creel.
Christmas-
I gotta,
Christmas list, you know.
I gotta get Creel first.
And then yeah, now we're on a new comic book day. There's only one comic. It's issue 2 of Hidden Empire. The A cover on the left looks very good.
Oh, that's cool.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Connecting
I like
variant on the right does not look as much.
Nah, that's not as okay. Although she's
That's-
pretty hot. I dig her style.
Swamp Lady.
Okay.
That's,
The next 2 are cool though.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, the
Oh,
left
I
one
like
looks
both of
pretty,
those actually.
and then the right one, I like that the old Japanese aesthetic there.
Whose is this?
Huh?
Who did this one?
I can't remember who did that one.
That's pretty cool.
I know that by the way, the left one is a 1 in 25. I don't know if the one on the right is a 1 in 50 or just
Okay.
non-ratio, but
So they're the ratios, huh?
they are yeah.
That's a hang on the wall right there. Like that's a really cool. Like that's like you can put that on the wall.
Now I didn't look if they have other because basically so the variants that we saw, the connecting and the one on the left there's multiple of those styles for the other issues. I don't know if the one on the right, the Japanese style, is also carried over. That would be nice though because it could be cool to see some other ones.
That's really cool. I like
Who
both
is
those.
that on that? Who's the? I haven't read any Hidden Empire.
I haven't read the first issue yet either. so I
Fantastic.
don't
I'm
know.
glad we're a comic book channel, ladies and gentlemen. We haven't read any of this. Fantastic. Love it. Couldn't even fake it, boys. Nice job. Oh, what in the world?
And there's in there. That's it.
Okay.
He used to be such a nerd. What happened to him?
He's to be a nerd. Don't ask anything about Lucas.
all right.
He's not doing well right now, so he ain't doing too well.
All right. Well, thanks for coming out. Next week, I'm sure we're doing something. I'm not sure what it is yet. We have plans though. We've been planning this out for months. I'm sure.
Well, we have been planning something for a year, so I don't know.
We're not, that's not a plan. Don't talk about it out loud. We're not doing it. All right. We love you guys very much. Thanks for hanging out. You can follow me on MrGarrell Gaming, MrGarrell on YouTube, and the Twitch is MrGarrell. Kachong on Instagram. The Canadian Collects on Instagram. Actually, I think it's just Hoosier Collects. And we'll catch you guys later. Have a great night.
See you later.
Awkwardly.